Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo. As you can tell from the very lengthy title of this video, we're going to be talking about buy-to-play games going free-to-play at some point during their life cycle. This is definitely as it is connected to the recent release of a free-to-play version of Evolve. It's not just a version that is going to be the only version for Evolve that you will see from here on out. Of course, you can still buy hard copies of the game. It is still on sale in certain places, but they're launching what they're calling Stage 2. It's a beta phase for the free-to-play version of Evolve. This is Turtle Rock's attempt to resurrect their community, or at least to enhance and bulk up their community once again, and to breathe life into Evolve well after its release. Now, this is being taken several ways from the community, from the consumer who may have spent money on the game, and I wanted to address this whole topic in this discussion. First and foremost, I am 100% on board with developers making decisions like this for a game that has all but died out. Evolve is pretty much sitting on the counter next to the dustbin, just inches away from being pushed in. There are very few people playing it. There's a lot of matchmaking issues. It's hard to get in matches. It's a little bit better on the console side of things, I would say, over on the Xbox One, I know at least. But the PC, I know, has a very limited player basis that can be seen just about anywhere where someone is talking about Evolve. So I like this decision from the developer. It's smart. It's what else can you do to resurrect a game like this apart from just saying, hey, we'll just go work on a sequel. And I applaud them for not doing something like that, for not saying, hey, let's just go spend all the money we earned, all the money we made from selling the game, from selling season passes, and just go start a second project. In fact, I don't know that that team, potentially has the money to do that, but this is a smarter move, and to me, it's a more respectable move, to say, hey, our game really hasn't had its run yet. We think this is a game worth playing. They're obviously confident in the product they made, and they want to see it come back to life. So I like this, and obviously this has been something that's happened over the years now. There's a few cases, and in almost all of those cases, the developer and the publisher involved have seen great success. Obviously, Team Fortress 2, one of the titans of doing that, a very popular game that had, I think, a huge second wave boost in its community because of the decision to go free to play. And then in terms of the MMO space, obviously, Knights of the Old Republic by BioWare, or the Old Republic, I should say, sorry, by BioWare, if they had stuck with their subscription-based model, there's no doubt that that game would be non-existent today. But you look at it now with the free-to-play model, which, by the way, has optional subscription models, if you're really hardcore into the game, that a lot of people pay for. I know a bunch of people in Praxis who played the game extensively free-to-play and then end up spending a lot of money in a premium, a lot of money on cosmetics. I think they even came out and said at one point, don't quote me on this, that they made more money with the free-to-play model than they did with the subscription-based model. So, obviously, a smart decision for the Old Republic. It saved that game as an MMO. It has a huge player basis still. And I personally think it's a hell of a lot of fun to play, so I was very happy to see that game stay out of the, destined MMO death bin and actually build a community moving forward with that decision. So that, of course, is what the team behind Evolve is hoping to do. Now, here's the consumer side of it. And I did want to talk about the way the consumer perceives this and sort of push away a certain mentality that people seem to have that I think is completely selfish and unnecessary. Right now, this game, Evolve, is getting annihilated. The Stage 2 version of it on Steam is getting annihilated by bad reviews, which is unfortunate because there are a large number of people who go to Steam who don't really look into the deep, elements of the community or of a game, and will simply look at the reviews and then walk away from the game, even as it is in a free-to-play state, because people are just attacking the review section, being pissed off that they paid full price for the game, potentially with the season passes, so up to $100 when the game released, and now they're giving it to people for free. Listen, this is the way the world works. This is the way consumerism and the purchasing of products works. You could pay one thing for something the day it releases, a month after it releases, and then 2 years, a year from now, 8 months from now, someone could pay substantially less, potentially nothing in the case of the video game market. That's not the developer's fault. You have no right to feel betrayed or to feel like someone took money out of your pocket. You bought the product day one. The person who didn't buy the game didn't get to play the game this entire time you were playing it. It's not like all of a sudden they have all the playtime you ever had. It's not like all of a sudden time goes backwards and they're there right next to you playing the game, flipping you the middle finger because they got it for free. No, they're going to get the game for free in a completely different state, a year after launch. Like, that's just the way things work. You cannot lambaste a developer for making a decision in an attempt to resurrect their product. And that's the biggest thing for me. If you're such a hardcore fan of this game, that you spent all that money, why would you be upset that the developer are doing everything necessary in their power to resurrect the community? Wouldn't you want to see that community thrive? I can only imagine the number of people who have posted negative Steam reviews upset that the game has gone free to play, who haven't even played the game. They're just pissed off because now someone's going to get something for free. That's so utterly selfish and silly. I can't believe that type of mindset even exists. I completely disagree with it. You bought it day one. That's what you bought into. That's just the way it goes. You know, I'm not going to sit here and be pissed off if I, you know, buy a 1+3 tomorrow and pay $400 and then someone gets it for $150 a year from now. Or someone gets it for free and, you know, in some way 2 years from now. Like, that's just a silly way to look at it. And it upsets me that people, you know, prioritize, you know, their own personal selfishness of I paid for this and blah, blah, blah over a developer and the massive amount of hours and time and life and effort that they put into a product trying to keep that product alive. That's really, really sad. So to refocus on the positive side of this, you know, best of luck to Turtle Rock, that, you know, everybody working at Evolve at this point. I think Evolve is a good game. I think it's dealt with some issues. I think its learning curve in particular was a bit too steep. And I think a lot of that has to do with the classes that you have to deal with, the hunters, and how specific their roles are. It's very difficult to get a group of randoms or public matchmaking in a game like Evolve, more so even than a game like Overwatch, in my opinion, and have everyone be able to know what they're doing and be able to communicate on a non-vocal basis. It's a game that just requires such extensive communication that playing it alone, solo queuing to me is absolutely insane unless you're fortunate enough to solo queue as the monster constantly. You know, the biggest problem I had with Evolve when I played it in the beta, and then I actually ended up picking it up on Xbox One about 2 months after release, to play it with some friends, was that we didn't get into consistent close matches enough. All too often it was a steamroll. Either we were steamrolled because the fourth person on our team couldn't hold up their role, which, by the way, all 4 roles in Evolve on the Hunter side of things are incredibly important. You can't have one person not doing their part. Every role is necessary, and that's a huge difficulty of matchmaking in public matches with that game, even if you have 3 people in your squad. The other side of the coin might have been that the monster we played up against was incredibly, you know, unskilled, and we steamrolled them. There were very few close matches, and when it comes to competitive games like that, whether you're in a public or competitive environment, you need to have close matches more often than not. That's why I enjoy Overwatch, because for as many, you know, really pushover matches or hardcore losses I have, there's twice as many really good close matches. I think that's what's important. I don't know if that's something that will be able to happen now that Evolve is free to play, but what I do know is that they're going to see a massive increase in the number of people at least giving the game a go. And I've talked to some people who are happy about this decision, who still play Evolve today. I have a couple friends on my Steam list who are hardcore Evolve people, friends I know in real life who really, really loved that game, who are just obsessed with it, who are still playing it. And I actually, you know, texted my buddy the other day. I haven't talked to him in a while. I was like, hey, you still playing Evolve? He's like, yeah, it's going free to play, don't you know? He was all excited. He's like, fresh meat, man. That's what he said to me. He's like, all these new kids are going to be playing the monsters. He's like, and we're going to steamroll them. But he was also happy about the idea of the community growing again and of there being a genuine player basis. He plays on the Xbox One, which I heard isn't as bad as the PC side of things, but obviously this is where they're launching the free-to-play version first. It seems to be on Steam in this stage 2. Hopefully this can do what they're hoping for. I'd really like to see this game be resurrected. I think there's a lot of promise behind this, and I think, you know, it warrants a community that is willing to put in the time and the dedication to learn the roles, and there can be some great games, some great moments to be had there. You know, to me, I could see Evolve hopefully getting to the point where Rainbow Six Siege is right now, where the people left playing Rainbow Six Siege are hardcore. They know what they're doing, and that creates a really competitive environment, even in public matches. That means playing Rainbow Six Siege, at least if you know what you're doing, is an insane amount of fun. So best of luck to Evolve. Let me know what you guys think about this whole situation about, you know, buy-to-play games going free-to-play. Like I said, man, you really got to remove yourself from that selfish thought process of, I paid this much for it, now why is that person getting it for free? That's, you know, that's just the way that buying products works sometimes. You know, there's nothing you can change about that. Like I said, it's important, I think, to look at where the developer is right now and recognize, hey, this is the most respectable decision they could make, is to try and maintain this game and its community rather than just moving forward and leaving it to die. Thank you guys so much for watching and potentially just listening. I will see you in the next one.